Thanks for letting me know. Also gonna change the music. Thank you. Hello, I will do that intro again. If you're listening to the stream right now, feel free to grab a snack or use a bathroom or get yourself settled in. Does the stream start when the counter hits 0? If you're watching this in post, feel free to skip ahead. Timer is on the screen. Hello, Mango Cheesecake. Thank you for letting me know. Eric, welcome back. Jason, nice to see you, Jason. It's been a minute. I would think you would save this for a Thursday live stream. You would think so, right? But you know, I got a pattern going, right? I have no choice but to actually stream on Tuesdays. If there was a game called Tuesdays, you know, that'd just be a little too on the nose, right? Lope, hey, welcome back, Lope. Nice to see you here. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Hey, what's up, Judd? Nice to see you. Really having quite the difficulty with something in the background, so hopefully... Oh, interesting. Okay, well, let's see what we can do. I got 50 seconds before the stream starts, so let's see if we can get something good going. Da, 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 da. Mm-hmm. 20 seconds. Sometimes streams go wrong, and that's okay. You guys don't know what it is yet, but I'm sure you'll figure it out sooner rather than later. That'll do. Oh my gosh, okay. Well, what can you do? Copy. Almost there, guys. Okay. Well, what can you do? Let's get started. Hello! If you couldn't tell, my voice reactor is busted. So I'm just gonna use this static image to represent me while this thing loads in the background. I don't know if it's gonna load this stream, but so be it. I'm just putting myself in the chair. Hello and welcome back to the 99 More live stream where we cover 99 tabletop RPGs. Cool, I got an email. We cover 99 more RPGs, and today we are covering the game Thursday. We're covering the game Thursday. Why are we covering it on a Tuesday? Because our stream is on Tuesday. Why are we covering the game Thursday specifically? Because it's a really cool game. I heard about it from a couple of recommendations. This is a game about time travel. It's not a super high-flying, paranormal, sci-fi thriller type of time travel game, but it's more like a low-key, emotional time loop type situation, and that's a game I'm not too used to. So I wanted to take the opportunity to look into this game and see what really makes it shine. This should be a bit more of a low-key read from what materials I've managed to look at so far. Wow, this is really boring when this guy doesn't move. What if I just move it manually like this? Yeah, it should be interesting. So don't look too critically at any dice mechanics or crazy revolutionary what do you call it? Resolution systems. I think this is more of a feels type game that that is still very unique as far as I know. I have peered into the first couple pages and I did like what I saw. So for people who like time loop stuff, timey-wimey time travel stuff, this might be the game for you. So why don't we jump in, get right to it. I'll show you where we can find the game and we'll go from there. Let's see. This is also busted. There's things, let me just hide the things on the stream that are totally not. Yeah, let me just put that away. Why is this token so big? Let me just put him over here. Tuck him in over here. You can drink all stream. Oh, no. Never mind. It didn't work. Where did I put you? There we go. Okay, that's fine with me. Let's see. Let me load up Chrome and get you guys on where you can find this game. Beautiful. This is Thursday. Thursday, as you can see, you can find on tabletop. You can find on itch.io. I wish I knew how to pronounce her name. Eli Seitz is my best guess. ELISEITZ.itch.io/Thursday. You can find this game on itch, which is a really convenient way to grab it for yourself. I don't think I'm going to read this. Well, actually, let's read it. Why not? Because usually this shows up on the first couple pages. But just so you have an idea of what this game could be about, let's jump on in. Thursday is a tabletop role-playing game for 2 to 4 players of time loops, drama, and learning from your mistakes, inspired by Russian Doll. It is a game about finding out what is important in life as you fall off the fire escape for the 5th time. It's about finally making that deep connection, but knowing it'll all be lost with the next reset. Discover your character's hidden backstory and unmet desires, and help them reach the personal epiphany they need to escape the fatal time loop and move on. Thursday is based on the No Dice No Master system created by Avery Alder, and has been adapted for a shorter mini-series length game with no prep. It was illustrated by Tzor Edery and edited by Vi Huntsman. The PDFs available are tagged for accessibility and bookmarks with bookmarks and alt text. And there is a digital character keeper to keep your game organized. We have it open over here on this tab. Take a look at this. There's a couple playbooks of the characters you could be playing as in this game, but this means nothing to us quite yet. So with that said, let's jump into it. If you want to see a couple of examples, they do have a couple of videos here that you could check out for yourself if you want to see a proper playthrough of this game. And it's by pretty cool people. I see Jeff Stormer, I see +1 EXP, and it's been featured on IO9, Polygon, and Dicebreaker. So a lot of good support here. Anyway, let's get into it. Nice. Okay. This game in total is... Let me just shrink this guy a little bit, so he's not in the way of us actually reading. There we go. This game is 19 pages long. Well, technically 38 pages long because it's spreads from here on out. Yeah. Closer to 32 pages. So we'll go from there. This doesn't seem like too long a game, so let's just read what we like. Kind of get a glimpse of how to play this game, how this game runs, and go from there. Okay. Thursday is a tabletop role-playing game about identity and time loops, inspired by media like Russian Doll, Groundhog Day, and The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. I love this movie, by the way. Girl Who Leapt Through Time. It uses the No Dice, No Master system created by Avery Alder. Thursday is meant to be played without preparation or a game master, relying on collaboration and equal distribution of narrative responsibility. Think of it like a TV miniseries, a collection of punchy episodes that tell a self-contained story with a beginning, middle, and end. It can be binged all at once or savored over 2 to 3 sessions. Sometimes you will be an actor embodying a character, other times you will be part of a writer's room working together to establish plot beats. In keeping with the simile, this text will refer to your game of Thursday as your show. Use this game to tell the stories of unhappy people struggling with past choices and hang-ups who have a second chance thrust upon them by the universe. Their only choice is to buckle up and figure out what is going on, why they are connected, and how can they escape this perpetual Thursday. Who are they? What will it take to escape the loop? Will they be the same when they re-enter society? So, how to play. Start the session by discussing which safety tools your table will use. Next, introduce the playbooks and setting elements. Each player will be in charge of one character and one setting element, so take the time to discuss them before making selections. The playbooks offer protagonists a simple outline with plenty of unanswered questions left by character creation. They will inform how our protagonist might react or interpret a situation, but only through play can you uncover their hidden pasts or secret desires. The setting elements drive the narrative and anchor the mechanics, keeping all the stories moving during play. Each setting element has specific responsibilities and special moves that influence the flow of the show. After picking playbooks and adjust setting elements, use the lights, cameras, action section, because we'll see that soon. Oh, it's towards the middle. To jumpstart the protagonist's stories, resetting the loop as needed, knocking down scenes like dominoes. Only by setting scenes that challenge the protagonist can you discover who they truly are, why they have been trapped in a time loop, and what epiphany will allow them to escape. Okay, so general impressions on the first page of this. I love the influences. Groundhog Day, I was lucky enough to see the Broadway show of this in the UK, and I also The Girl Who Leapt Through Time is like my top 5 movies ever. I loved that movie, how it used time loops as more of a self-improvement type story than something of calamitous end, so to speak, although there was a lot of drama in it. So this game seems to focus on people who are generally unhappy, who have made mistakes, and this is their opportunity to really fix their situation or have a second chance of fixing their situation. Welcome to the stream, Thumper. Nice to see you again. Hang on, it's Tuesday. Yeah, you're not the first person to make that joke, but welcome. Would I move my stream to another day just for the beat, just for the bit? Probably not, but it would have been cool. Anyway, it looks like this uses playbooks as we've seen from that Google sheet. Do I have that open? So this should give you like a little bit of a glimpse of what this game, what kind of players or characters you would be playing in here. It seems like each character you have, you can pick, has unique things that they have to figure out about themselves, unique things that they're good at or talented at, or maybe habits that they might lean into. So these are things that we're going to find out as we continue to read. Safety is pretty important. It says here, Thursday commonly falls into dark comedy. Death, often sudden and unexpected death, is part of the game, and while protagonists will come back to life, it is critical to establish what content is appropriate for your show. Have a conversation amongst yourselves about how death will be portrayed. Consider starting with the 2 questions below. How detailed will fatal scenes be described? What deaths will not be included in your show? Use this to determine rating. Is it PG or mature? And of course, use safety tools like script change and Xcard. So, death is, as it says, death is pretty important in this game. I gotta fix the scrolling on this app. Scrolling is always so janky. It scrolls normally when I zoom all the way out, but sometimes I don't want to zoom all the way out. Anyway, playbooks, characters are the linchpins of your show. Instead of giving you a comprehensive backstory, character generation provides just enough information to start playing so the character's problems and personalities can come out of gameplay. Pass the playbooks around the table, taking turns reading an introduction paragraph aloud. Consider their play to find out questions and their different moves. Each player will pick a different playbook, so discuss your inclinations with the table. Once everyone has made their selection, take a minute or two to discuss your character's name, pronouns, and vibe. Finally, discuss which starting location you want to choose to kick off your show and create your own. The protagonist will share a location, but their circumstances vary widely. So this seems, well, from what I can tell so far, and I guess this is pretty darn straightforward, this is taking the perspective of like a TV show, almost sitcom-esque type situation where a number of characters are within the same scene, but they're all dealing with different things, and how they handle those scenes really matters as the time loop keeps going, because obviously they make some sort of mistake that they're trying to fix. All these characters are intentionally flawed, but not detailed enough that you know their full backstory before you step into them, which it says right here. You only know enough to start playing. Cool premise so far. All right, making moves. So we're familiar with moves from other games like Blades in the Dark or Powered by the Apocalypse. I'm curious how this handles it. There's 3 different moves: regular moves, weak moves, and strong moves. Regular moves can be employed anytime that protagonist is in the scene. That should show the status quo, how the character tends to interact with the world. Okay, so this is like their emotional leanings, so to speak, how they would normally interact with most situations. I'm assuming the regular moves, unlike other games, are not shared between the different playbooks, which are cool. Because sometimes regular moves are called like basic moves, and everybody has them, but maybe regular moves are unique to each playbook. Weak moves can also be used at any time and generate a token for a player. We don't know what this is yet. They reveal the character's worst impulses and make the story more interesting. Strong moves can only be used by spending a token. They provide a moment of insight, large-scale action, or incremental change for the better. Protagonists start with 0 tokens, meaning they cannot make any strong moves without calling on a weak move first. Alright, so I can't remember what game calls upon something like this. I want to say it's Rom-Com Drama Bomb that I recall using kind of a weak strong system where to use a strong move you have to first be vulnerable, right? So these weak moves lean into impulses, it leans into your flaws, and you have to exhibit these first before you can do a strong move that changes your character for the better. So you're forced to be vulnerable, you're forced to put yourself in these inopportune or uncomfortable positions so you can eventually strive to overcome them. On a side note, there's absolutely a mosquito in my room because I feel like I just got 5 new bites, and that's no good. We're back in summer. I might just have to start sleeping in long sleeps if that's the case. But anyway, many moves to act as a starting. Hopefully it's not like an allergy or something. Hopefully it is just a mosquito, so it goes away. Many moves act as a starting point, a prompt for the player or table to interpret. Some moves are questions answered by other players, shifting the narrative control beyond the player who invoked the move. And then play to find out. What is this all about? Let's zoom in. Let me close this too. More reading room. We all have a thing. Sometimes it's a person or an object. Other times it's a moment in our past. We may not even know it is there, but it holds us back and ties us down. Each character is trapped in a loop for a reason. They have a problem, a hang-up or complication that haunts them. To show this, start the game with a coin in front of you, tails side up. This embodies the thing holding your character back. Your goal as a player is to play to find out what their problem is, by using the moves and questions in your playbook to seek out an epiphany. Uncover what lies at the core of your protagonist. Only with this knowledge can they correct course through action and escape the time loop. When you have discovered and acted upon the problem, flip your coin to heads, signaling readiness to escape the time loop. Continue playing scenes and resetting the time loop until everyone has flipped their coin. When the final coin is flipped, the loop is broken, and you can proceed to the epilogue. Okay, so that's the pretty important thing to know. Unlike a lot of, I don't want to say a lot of games, but kind of the core concept of a lot of tabletop RPGs is that it's not about winning. It's kind of about crossing the finish line, but it's not about racing past it, so to speak. The whole, and I saw this in one of the comments on the itch.io page, that you don't really want to rush this game. Even though this game can technically be completed in one sitting, it takes like 3 or 4 sessions to allow characters to really start to digest and interpret their time loops and see what really needs to change about their character. So the end, I don't want to say a win condition, but the ending of this game is when every player in the game has found what that problem is that hangs them up and what has to be fixed. And once everybody is ready to complete the time loop, then they collaborate together to make it happen. So that seems to be the general play pattern of this game. You keep time looping, you keep challenging you keep challenging your character with more and more uncomfortable situations, or how they rack their brains, or how they handle certain time loops. And then eventually, once they realize that this is something that they have to have some introspection about to fix, that's when you allow this time loop to end. Cool. I don't have quinine thumper, but I do have some anti-itch meds that I'll use later. Oh, cool art. All right, setting elements. Setting elements fill the show's context and background. Okay, so this is kind of setting the scene. Generate supporting cast, persons of interest, and important locations, and control the pace of action. There are 4 setting elements. The loop, which controls the time travel weirdness and informs pacing. The city, which controls locations and informs a sense of place. The home team controls friendly side characters, and the away team controls antagonist side characters. So earlier in this game, there was a mention of no game masters in this game. So let's see how they play this out. Each setting element has a what's it about section, agenda, and moves. These moves do not require tokens and can be used at any time. Remember, each player will control a character and a setting element for the entire game, so take time to read the options aloud and consider your selection. To strengthen their narrative agency and spread the facilitator role across players, each setting element comes with a special narrative responsibility. These powers empower players to make bold decisions within their domain and give them the authority to step in cases of confusion. So this is something that comes up when games don't have game masters or someone dictating exactly the flow of this whole setting and all the NPCs, yada yada yada. It's important to divvy that up across the players in ways that feel equal, that allow people who are normally uncomfortable with being a game master to kind of take a smaller role, kind of delegating that work to everybody and allowing everybody the opportunity to affect the narrative in ways outside of their character. I find that games without a game master are pretty great for just getting people introduced to the idea of leading a narrative, or throwing a wrench in the works, things like that. I know a lot of people find the role of a game master daunting, and games with no game master often help to ease their way into that idea or embolden them to make some bigger swings. Yeah, I guess this is one of those games. Let's see. The loop ends scenes that have reached a natural conclusion. Okay, so this is when you back to the beginning. The city sets a new scene's locations and characters. Okay. Home team offers characters a way out of tough situations that deepen their relationships, and the away team provokes conflict when the protagonists have no problems. Okay, cool. Most No Dice No Masters games have setting elements that change hands depending on the situation, but Thursdays remain static for the whole game. This reduces cognitive load while allowing players to learn and develop in their chosen roles, leaning into the theme of your setting element to introduce surprising new plot beats for your fellow players. Oh, okay, so basically the whole rulebook is on these first 14 pages, and the rest of it is just ironing out the details of your story. So let's read through these, let's get a good grip, and then let's see if we can design a character. Lights, camera, action. Your show begins on a Thursday like any other, with all the protagonists going about their daily lives before getting caught in a fatal time loop. The scenes before the first time reset are the show's pilot episode. Right. Use them to show the characters in their natural habitat, establish their surroundings, introduce a supporting cast, and allow the players to practice setting and playing scenes. Share the spotlight and give each protagonist a chance to set up their relationships and trajectory before it gets weird. Once everyone has at least one scene, pull the trigger on the die move. Pull the trigger on the die move and see what happens next. That came out of nowhere, but okay. Setting scenes is as easy as answering 5 W questions. I wonder what these questions could be. Who? Choose which protagonist you'll follow as they interact with side characters and are guided by setting elements. The protagonist's storylines will intersect, but they do not need to be in every scene. What? What is the protagonist trying to accomplish, or what sticky situation has occurred? Establish a starting action and consult the away and hold team setting elements to establish which supporting characters are present and who will be playing them. Each playbook has suggested starting locations and circumstances for their first scene. When and where. Location, location, location. Unless it's immediately obvious, consult the city. If the time is in question, ask the loop. Why? What do you want to show the scene? Do not be afraid to ask the table for specific scenes. The more detail you provide, the more the table has to work with, allowing the collaboration to flourish. I can't help but notice there's only... Oh, okay. When and... I was like, there's only 4. When and where is right here. Okay, cool. Okay, so first loop is a standard Groundhog Day type stuff. Just established a character in their natural habitat. Nothing weird has happened. They have no reason to be suspicious. This is just a normal Thursday. That's the first scene. So, what does this mean? Take it from the top. The loop resets whenever a player uses the die move available to all playbooks. The die move. As a weak move, it can be invoked at any time. However, everyone's fates are connected, so when one protagonist dies, they all die. Starting with the player who used the die move, every player takes a token and describes how their protagonist meets their end. Deaths can be as dramatic or insignificant as needed, but they happen immediately. Before starting a new loop, this is a good time to take a break. Ask your players if they need a bio break or would like to stop for the session. The time is also a chance to discuss the story on a meta level and do some quick brainstorming about what you want to see for your protagonists. When you are ready, pick a protagonist and return to the starting location just as it was in the beginning. Keep playing scenes until someone dies again or everyone has flipped their coins, sending the group into the epilogue. Alright, that looks like the game, right? That looks like the game. So I have no idea what the die move is, but I'm guessing the die move is basically something on your sheet indicating how exactly you pass away, right? And it's something that clearly affects everybody because everybody dies as well, and this is an immediate death. When someone pulls the die move, it basically means, all right, we're starting from the top. Let's see what needs to change this time. And then you do that as many times as you want until you guys reach a satisfying conclusion. Everyone has flipped their coins, and you guys step into the epilogue. Alright, and this is the end of the game. When all coins are flipped, the time loop is broken, and it's time for the epilogue. Answer these questions in any order. The loop. How is it evident that the loop is over? The city. What has changed about the city? The home team. How were the protagonists connected after the time loop is over? And the away team. What has remained the same after the loop has ended? And then you craft
the epilogue. You can even flash forward, flashing ahead 50 years, or perhaps prefer some ambiguity. And the writer's room is basically saying that between each loop, or basically whenever you guys find it appropriate, feel free to step out of character, out of frame, and really start looking at what could make the story interesting, what would make the story satisfying. The more I read about this game, I guess out from the outside in, the more I feel like this is more, it's still a game, right? But this really feels more like a creative exercise. And it's not, I'm not saying that all tabletop RPGs aren't exactly that, but there are some tabletop RPGs where you can turn your brain off and not really play. This game very much feels like an intentional exercise to really stretch your imagination and allow yourself to really do some character introspection or character design. It really seems to emphasize more than most games to break the fiction or pause the fiction and really take a moment to understand where the story is going next, to make sure that the next couple beats are meaningful and or entertaining and or surprising, right? Kind of a cool thing for a game to do. And I'm not used to it, I'll be honest. As someone who runs a lot of high fantasy type games, I don't like pausing the game so everybody can figure out what happens next. I feel like I'm in a constant state of action or suspense or mystery, and like players are more than welcome to stay in character and try to figure out the situation, and that's totally fine. But to pause the game to think about what your characters want to do next, or at least what would be most meaningful for them to do next, not as common, not nearly as common. So I kind of like this, that you guys are, people playing this game are allowed to take 5, and as it says here, embrace collaboration by bringing your ideas to the table and trusting your players to do the same. So it's like, allow other people to chime in and see what would be most interesting for your character. And it says here, when your character is not the focus of the scene, use your setting elements, powers, and themes to keep the story interesting. So it's like, even when you're not in the spotlight, allow the person in the spotlight to have an interesting experience. This is kind of the collaborative game masterless type game that that Thursday is fostering, so to speak. So cool stuff. But yeah, I as someone who is stalwartly in the don't break the immersion camp, this does also seem like a lot of fun, which is cool. Thumper says, it feels like you could fail at this if you had the wrong friends. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's the nature of tabletop RPGs, right? There are some people who will not jive with this. They'll kind of be like, all right, I know the solution. I'm going to do it. I flip my coin and I'm kind of done. And they'll check out for the rest of the session, right? I could see that happening. There are people who will just take the time loops the wrong way, right? And there's very much the people who have the mindset of, how do I solve this, right? How do I fix this? This is a problem that we have to repair, and we should do that expeditiously. And there's other people who really want to bask in the moment and be like, why do we have to hurry this, right? Why can't I take my time to find the right decision and try out everything? And people are different, right? And people have different levels of patience. I remember I tried, gosh, what was the name of the game? It was a while ago, but I played a version of a time loop game called Thunder in Our Hearts, which was a game about a wedding that's constantly on repeat, because things keep going wrong, right? And it was such an interesting premise, and I really liked the game. But I tried it out with a group of friends, and after the first loop, they were like, "Okay, we're bored. Let's do something else." And it's not their fault. They kind of got what they wanted out of the story,
the exciting beats of what they were trying to do. They just didn't feel it entertaining enough to do again, right? And I realized that the game wasn't for them, or the game didn't provide enough change that specific friend group would appreciate, and that's okay, right? Part of trying new games is figuring out who it really clicks with. As someone who's taught like D&D to 30, 40 people, there's people who play it once and are like, all right, that's everything I wanted from this game. I think I'm good forever. So, absolutely. Like, games are not for everyone. And this is absolutely one of these games that you have to have a very specific mindset when stepping into it, and have a very, very focused goal, I imagine. There's only a certain subset of people who would enjoy this type of game, and it's the people who really like the introspection that comes with character design and fleshing out somebody who's not yourself. So I'm gonna scroll a little bit and let's see what we can find out about this game. I don't want to read the whole game in its entirety. I just kind of want to see. So this is an example of play. Playbooks. Okay, so this is what we were looking at before. So this is an example of... These are examples of characters that you could play. These are the playbooks. So say, for example, you wanted to play a character, you pick one of these playbooks, and these are things that they would be good at or bad at. So let's look at the artiste and just figure out what that looks like. And again, if you want to use a character keeper to just track this in an easy way, you can absolutely just, look at this and sort it out, or have everybody assigned to a different type of playbook. So let's look at artiste. Nothing is better than finding a trickle of inspiration, following it to the spring, and drinking deep. So what if your thought process is hard to follow, or people give you strange looks on the subway? As long as you can do art, that should be enough, right? Play to find out. How do you express yourself to the world? What does it mean to create? What does it mean to know yourself? So these are questions you don't want to answer right away. You just kind of keep them in mind as you play, right? That's what play to find out is. I can double check. Yeah. So these are things that you think about later. Oh, here. Play to find out. Right. So these are the things that would end your loop if you were able to answer these questions. These questions right here are basically your end goals. Once you answer these questions, then you can flip your token and search for the epilogue. Starting locations. So if you want your character to kind of be one of the focal points of this story, you could absolutely pick one of these starting locations to base where you guys are going to play. Hosting a party, displaying your art at the coffee shop, looking for inspiration at the zoo. Vibes. Paint splattered fresh from the studio, 100% pretentious beret included, homemade in your living room, self-expression through color. Okay, so if you want to describe your character, these are different easy beats to start with. Strong. Expose a sliver of your true self. So strong is... Actually, let's read weak before we read strong. No, let's read let's read regular, then let's read weak, then let's read strong. So again, regular is just your default, right? This is what you would do unprompted, without any sort of antagonism and or urging. This is your natural state of being. Regular. Allow your feelings to explode out of you. Misinterpret someone's words through your feelings. Find a sudden stream of inspiration. Reject societal conventions in a way that alienates those around you. Judge someone or something to your unspoken standards. Ask, what here is beautiful? So these are not very kind things, I guess, or not things considerate to the world around you, so to speak. They seem a little bit egocentric, a little bit self-centered, a little bit out of touch, I think would be the best description for this. And this fits the description of an artiste. Someone who is such a deviant to, or such counterculture to everyone around them would find themselves reasons to stand out or reject the normalcy, so to speak. And these are all different examples of that. Find a sudden stream of inspiration is pretty good. It's just the default way to interact with the world. And of course, this is how you start good conversations. Rejecting societal conventions in a way that alienates those around you. Easy way to stand out. So let's move on to weak. And weak is moments of vulnerability, allowing this caricature you've made for yourself to break a little bit and connect with the world. And doing a weak move provides you a token. Make the situation infinitely worse. And again, you can't do strong moves until you do weak moves. So let's try this. Weak. Make this make the situation infinitely worse. Be overwhelmed by other strong emotions. Give up exactly when you shouldn't. Tell someone a truth that will hurt them. Ask what have I drastically overlooked here, and die. Again, the die mechanic is something that everybody has, and that basically means your character passes away and everybody else is triggered to pass away. So these are specifically made to enhance the situation and make it much more not just dramatic, but like perilous, right? This is how you really harsh the vibes, right? That's a good way to say it. Where something really massive happens and you give up exactly when you shouldn't. These are moments that you could have handled better, right? And that's the whole point of the time loop, that the second time around, third time around, fourth time around, you try to fix exactly this moment. And then we'll see what you would do to fix these moments. With the weak moves, you get a token and you can spend them on these strong moves over here. So, your strong moves are expose a sliver of your true self, flashback to an important memory, find art in someone's words or actions, collaborate with someone, ask someone else, what are you ashamed of? Ask, what here is art? Okay, so a lot of this seemed to be leaning towards sympathetic, empathetic type actions where you specifically reach out to somebody nearby and say, hey, how do I connect with you? How do I actually ground myself in someone else's ideals and really look towards different perspectives in life? Try to break those barriers that you would normally just try to use to separate yourself from everybody else. This is a strong move. This is a step in the right direction. This is a way to overcome the great mistake that you've made in your weak moves. And again, the end goal is to play to find out, truly find out very, very meaning of life type energy where you have to figure out your place in the world. You have to figure out what it means to do art. Is it deeper than the superficial end result? Is the journey important? Things like that. And what does it mean to know yourself? So is what you're projecting exactly who you want to be? And that's the artiste, right? And it's not, of course, you're not just playing this alone. You're playing with a number of other people who have other problems, like trendsetter, sellout, misanthrope, right? These are people with their own problems, and when in the same room, in the same setting, they start to clash, and these different ideals really start to work against each other. And that's what you try to resolve with each time loop. So again, no dice, no masters is the core system of this game. There are no dice. You don't really flip a coin except for the one token you have. A lot less number crunching. So this is basically a great little guide to... You know what? I feel like... And this is just a reflection on what I've read about this game so far. This is, if not exactly your cup of tea for a tabletop RPG you would play with your friends, it is a great jumping off point in making a nuanced yet vibrant character, right? The 4 examples they give here are characters that have very clear ideals, very clear goals, and ideas of who they are and who they want to be. and then the clear pitfalls of this character, fatal flaws, so to speak, that allow for character growth. So if not a game that you would play for yourself at your table, I understand that this game is probably not for everyone for obvious reasons. At least let it be a great example of the depth that a created character can have, other than the weapon they wield and the crown they chase, right? So, I don't really have much else to say about this game. I feel like we covered basically everything. Obviously, there's more examples farther down that help you identify the loop and the city, and of course the supporting cast and the opposing cast. I'll leave that to your own readings should you get this game. I think that we have a pretty good idea of how this game is played. We went through all the steps of what this game looks like, how to start it, how to run through the time loops, and how to epilogue. And the rest I'll leave to mystery. So, summarize. Because we're allowed to have short episodes, right? Thursday is a game about time loops. It's a game about it's a game about playing deeply flawed people in an episodic show-like format, where they're forced to confront the flaws in their character, and the time loops allow them a second chance to correct a deeply wronged mistake. Is that the correct way to say it? Correct a very terrible mistake. And they'll have multiple opportunities to do it, as many time loops as it takes to really understand exactly why that mistake was made and what they should do to correct it moving forward to make not only themselves a better person, but the world a better place. The playbooks provided allow you to be deeply, I don't want to say self-centered, but deeply off track, and allows a lot of opportunities for introspection between each time loop. It's not really a game about time travel as much as it is about character growth, and I can respect that. A pretty short read. No dice, no masters means there's no dice or complicated rolls that you'll have to make. It's all about the story that's built between people willing to collaborate on the intersecting lines of people's stories. If you want to find this game, you could find it on itch.io. Let me see here if I can bounce you over there. Itch.io. ELISEITZ. Eli Sates, if I can guess how to pronounce the name. itch.io/Thursday. And that's all I've got for you. So, till next time. Hopefully I'll fix this little guy in the corner that he moves when I talk, like he usually does. But thank you guys for joining me. This was a fantastic stream. Hope you guys have a wonderful week. Next week we'll be covering Daggerheart by Darrington Press. They will release their game on May 20th, and I will take the opportunity to really cover it as well as I can, or as well as I covered the beta, so to speak. It'll be one of the first games in a while that I'll have read before covering it on stream, so we'll see how that goes. All things said, thanks for tuning in. Have a wonderful week, and see ya next time. Have a good night. Stay frosty.